There is a silent battle happening in East Africa as we speak, and this time the target is not oil-rich Iraq or resource-loaded Afghanistan, it's Somalia. Yes, Somalia, the place that has been at a pretty much, it's been war-torn for years, and behind this renewed interest is one familiar face, the capitalist Donald Trump. Today, I'm breaking down why Trump may want to assist Somalia in regaining control over the country and how the U.S. plans to take control and what it means for the people of Somalia and the region and expats like yourself. Will there be a new expat destination in the future? Let's talk about it today. I'm Austin Holleman. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. So why is Somalia all of a sudden so important? Somalia sits on, just like many other African nations, it's resource rich, not as rich as some of the others, but it sits on an estimated 110 billion barrels of untapped oil and gas reserve, according to seismic data from the Spectrum Geo and interest from U.S. energy firms. So they found a abundance of oil under the ground in Somalia, which now, if you guys don't notice, especially places like Haiti, there's places in the world that have been pretty unsafe to live in. And Somalia has been one of those places for a while now. Haiti has been one of those places. And you guys may wonder, like, hey, why don't people just go over there and help them? Because there's no interest. There's nothing they get out of it. That's why they never went to help Haiti, because they could go help, but there's nothing there for them to get. That's why nobody has actually tried to help. I mean, Kenya has sent troops to Haiti, but other than that, like nobody is finding a good enough reason to help these nations that need help. And it's unfortunate because there's people that live there, but the way how the world works is if there's nothing that you could give a power to come help you, you're pretty much going to have to fend for yourself. And fortunately for Somalia, it seems that this may be their turning point to fixing some issues that they've had. Disclaimer: I do not stand on any political spectrum. I am just here to report the news to you guys. The Gulf of Aden is located on the northern coast of Somalia, and the eastern coast is the Indian Ocean. Not to mention, it is a geopolitical gold mine because it's situated near the Strait of Djibouti, which is one of the most important shipping routes in the world. Somalia also has fisheries and uranium deposits, and this draws new eyes such as China, Turkey, and the United States. And you guys can see that there are Turkish products being imported into Somalia. This now is no longer about fighting terrorism. It's about positioning for the next global resource war. Somalia is no longer just a failed state, but it's a treasure chest waiting to be claimed. And it'll be interesting to see who will get the resources first. More than likely, in my opinion, I think China may be the ones to do it, unless if the United States provides military intervention. So what is Trump's strategic entry into Somalia? As of February 2025, the United States, under Trump-leaning military leadership, organized airstrikes against ISIS operatives in the Golis Mountains of northern Somalia. Then, in March 2025, Somalia's government offered exclusive access to strategic U.S. military control over Balidogo and Berbera air bases, as well as ports in Bosaso and Berbera. This agreement was largely ignored by mainstream media, but reporters by Reuters and confirmed by U.S. Africa Command. So while people are distracted by elections and social media drama and the latest rude thing that Trump said or did with tariffs, Trump's allies are moving chess pieces across Africa in order to claim more dominance over the region. Some believe that this is just military occupation disguised as partnership. Third, how will Trump implement this strategy of securing Somalia? First, military training and airstrikes, as the United States has always done. They've been doing this in Somalia, but apparently they've lightened up on it a lot. The U.S. presence in Somalia isn't new. If you guys have seen the movie Black Hawk Down, the U.S. embassy had fled at one point from Somalia, and they did not want the United States in there, but unfortunately, it seems like they will be returning. But the U.S. presence is expanding rapidly under the justification of fighting terror, as they've used for decades now in the Middle East and parts of northern and western Africa, even in places like Mozambique. The second way they'll do this is through infrastructure control. Air bases and ports are being handed over quietly to foreign nations, potentially turning Somalia into a logistical hub for U.S. operations in East Africa and the Middle East. So, for example, whenever the United States is having let's just say they're for some reason they're in Nigeria, they may not have a base in that country, but they will have a base nearby that allows them to have a rapid response to respond to a nearby nation. And they're essentially saying that Somalia could become one of those places. Third thing is energy contracts. Of course, capitalism. So now U.S. companies will now come to Somalia to come look for these resources, see if there's more of them, and start extracting them. So you can kind of think of this like Iraq and Afghanistan, but in reverse. This time, the U.S. is moving in before the chaos actually erupts, and they're doing it under the radar. And the reason I say under the radar is because this story was one of those stories that was brought up one time and you never heard about it again. The tariffs are constantly being said, but there's always stories that pop up. This is not private information, obviously, but these are stories that pop up and then they disappear for a while. And then you don't hear about them again until they're pretty much complete. Now, when could this escalate? In 2025, the airstrikes already began at the beginning of this year. The exclusive control deal was signed in March 2025, giving the United States control over that region. If Trump regains office or maintains influence with this decision by late 2025 or 2026, we could see a full-fledged military and corporate takeover under the guise of stabilization, technical terms that have always been used. This isn't speculation. These are signed agreements and active military operations. The wheels are already in motion for this to happen. So, most importantly, as far as the locals go, what does this mean for Somalia and this region of Africa or Africa in general? The best case scenario is U.S. investment will boost Somalia's infrastructure, which is much needed for decades now. Jobs will come to the country because of this, and it will become a more secure place where more people could live. The country could become a new strategic ally with the United States and finally begin to rebuild and become a peaceful nation. The worst case scenario, some believe that Somalia will lose its sovereignty. Local resistance will increase, like you've seen with the movie Black Hawk Down. Insurgent groups may retaliate to push this influence because you have to keep in mind that the United States coming to just bring oil, buy oil, bring jobs, that doesn't really just happen just like that. They don't just bring jobs, they bring their personality. So when more Americans and American businesses come to another country, those places start to become Americanized. And usually in this part of the world, people don't want to be Americanized and they would do whatever to fight against it. So maybe it could create more conflict. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. But it could be a possibility. Some believe that. And don't forget, China, Turkey, and the UAE are also investing in Somali ports and roads, and the country could become the next proxy battleground like Syria or Libya. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And when multiple empires want a piece of your land, war is usually never that far behind. Somalia is a walking tightrope, and Trump just may be the one to tip the balance. Now, this isn't just a political video. Just for me to just report the news, I still am going to relate this back to expat life. Why would this matter to you? As I said before, if this does happen, Somalia could be the next place that you could say, hey, I'm going to open up the first hotel here or this certain brand of hotel, or I can open up a restaurant here, or I can open up an American style restaurant here. Somalia is underdeveloped. So there's plenty of places that you will have opportunity to build. I mean, it's pretty much a blank canvas. So this could be a new place for expats to live. And they also have beautiful beaches. This could be a great place for new expats to live. That are willing to go back in time a little bit for infrastructure, but they can see the vision in the future. Or on a negative tone, whatever happens in Somalia, if it's negative, such as creating a resistance from locals for American influence coming into the region, if you're in a place like Kenya, Djibouti, and Ethiopia, you could see some of that stuff possibly affecting your safety spreading out, because usually you guys have seen around East Africa that there has been many instances of, like, for example, the Westgate shooting here in Nairobi. That stuff could come from this conflict. Let me know what you guys think. This is bigger than Donald Trump, and this will be a world-changing move if it does happen. I would love to know what you guys think about it. Let me know what you thought about the video. I'll see you guys next time.